What's up, friends? Let's talk about making a cult for Verrotwood, the folk horror skirmish game. Obviously, we're going to need the book, a copy of the roster sheet, a pencil, because only crazy people do this with a pen, and an assortment of models. I don't know that these are the best models for this because I don't have a snow mat, but I'm going to go with it anyways because I haven't used these models in a long time, and this seems like a good excuse to do that. Step one is to choose your deity. And I have kind of piddled and brainstormed over this a little bit, and I think I have come up finally with something. We are the Shield of Shalek, the dweller of the low places, the keeper of the deep word. Next step is to choose our ritual trait. So this is the stat that we will use when we roll and develop our ritual points at the beginning of the game. I'm going to go with defense because the deep one has never been cut by any blade of man or God. He is the rock in the hard place. Next step, or the next entry, is favor. The game is meant to be played as a campaign, so in that situation you start with 300 favor. However, if you want to play a one-off, it recommends 500 favor. So we're going to go over to the new cultist section, where it's free to indoctrinate them into the cult, and they start with a value of 1 in all their stats. A new cultist will have 10 health, and when forming my cult, I may indoctrinate up to 4. I may never exceed 4. If a cultist is ever permanently killed during the post-game injury phase of a campaign, I may replace them for free. So I've got my 4 based up cultists. Emmerich, the Bearer, Claustrum, Verton, and Relique. So we can increase stats at 50 favor per stat. Since my God favors defense, I'm going to drop 200 up front to give everybody +1 defense. Alright, so with the remaining 100 favor that I had after increasing some stats, I've got a pole weapon, a mort shroom, an incense, and an improvised weapon on Emmerich. Everybody has an improvised weapon. Everybody has 1 mort shroom, and everybody except Relique has an incense. Claustrum took a heavy blunted, so a maul. Verton has this whip thing, and so I'm reskinning that as a crossbow because 0 to 12 range made more sense than 2 to 24 range for a whip. And then Relique has an axe, so a light bladed weapon, and then his improvised weapon. And that was my 100 favor. You then get 4 rituals, of which there are a lot of them to choose from. I took the Devout, which is a passive, so it doesn't cost anything to do, and it gives me, at the beginning of every round, I gain a ritual point for every model that I have on the table that's alive, not counting summons. I took Greater Summon because why not? It seems fun. I took Berserk because it kind of fits with the image of my god in my head, and then I took Twisting the Fates because it seemed fun. That's a little bit of a min-maxer, I'm not going to lie, but it seemed cool, it seemed good, and there wasn't anything else that really jumped out to me as fitting in. So I went with it. At that point, we're ready to play. We're ready to jump in and get after this. It's a very simple process to set up your cult. The hardest part, honestly, in my opinion, the most difficult thing is figuring out what you want to do as far as your deity and your models and all that stuff. But the actual creation is very simple, very streamlined. It's only a few steps. I like that. And that's it. We're done here. So thanks so much for tuning in, hanging out while we made a cult for Verrotwood, the folk horror skirmish game. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day. And as always, I'd like to say a
big, huge, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to our patrons who support us and pledge to us over on Patreon. You guys are the absolute best. If you enjoyed the content you saw here today and that's something that you would like to consider doing to help out the channel, go over there, check out the link in the description, check out the Patreon. There's a lot of cool stuff over there, including access to our Discord server. Talk to me, hang out with me, talk about our work, what we got going on in the hobby, some shout outs, all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out if that's something that you think you would be into. And regardless of whether or not you do that, I want you to know that I am incredibly grateful that you decided to stop by and spend part of your day with me today, rolling dice and pushing toy soldiers around. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and as always, may the dice be ever in your favor.